Hello everyone, my name is Narendra Singh and I am a software developer. Today we will be building a small NestJS application and we will be using Prisma ORM to query our database, and for database we will be using MySQL. Okay, let's start building the application. Let me open up my terminal and let me redirect to the desktop. And here I will be creating a new NestJS application. Let me copy this command and change the name to Prisma ORM NestJS YT. I will be using an NPM as a package manager. Let's wait for it to install. Uh, so once uh, my new NestJS application has been created, I can use this command of cd prisma yt. Okay, let me go to my, and then I can open it in the VS Code. So I can close this and let's start this server. Yep, it is running. Let me check it, like if it is running or not. Local of 3000. Yep, hello world is there. So my Nest application is running now. I can close the connection for now and go for Prisma documentation with NestJS. I can use this link, NestJS official link, as well as I can go with the Prisma uh, documentation as well. But let's go for the NestJS provided links. Right now, I'll install this uh, Nest. Let me. Yep, I have to install Prisma. Right. The terminal. Let me use Node version 22 first by switching it via NVM, and then npm install Prisma hyphen save test. So it will install the dependency for dev mode. In dev dependency, you can see that we have Prisma installed. Okay. If I have not used this flag, it would have installed it in the dependencies. So we need the Prisma in the dev dependencies for now. Okay. And then let me do npx Prisma. Uh, we can see all the commands, but to generate the client, I need to do npx Prisma for basic initialize this in in it command. So Prisma is initialized and we can see the folder here, okay, in which we have this client generated, and we have, by default it is using Postgres, but we will be changing it to MySQL, but not from here. And we have to provide the database URL via env file. So let's create, there is one env file, and oh, it has already created this. So we have to just change this URL to MySQL one, not Postgres. Okay, we will change it later on, but for now, everything has been created. So let's move on to the next part. Let's create one module, user module. We will be creating user module. Before that, let me open up my MySQL workbench. In that, I will create, I have this uh, database. Let me create one more. Like Let me remove these queries. And we have this show databases. I will create one more database here. Create database. I can provide the name such as YT database, and highlight this and command enter, and it will execute the command. And I can run this show database command to check if it has been created. It has been created here. Yeah. So my database has been created. I can use that database using database use YT database. Now it has been using. So query has been successful and it is started using the YT database. I can now query select, but there show tables. So currently we don't have any table. We will be creating that using Prisma. So currently I don't have any table in YT database. So for MySQL, I have to change my database URL like this, MySQL, and I have to provide the username here. Username, my username is root for local, and there is no password, and my connection for that is on port number 3306, and my DB name is uh, so the information we can get for the database for MySQL is, let's go to the Prisma MySQL database URL. We can see the example here. This is the example. We can copy it and we can change it here. We can remove this password for local. We can remove the change the username to root, and our database name is YT database. Okay. So now our database has been created. Let's go to the Prisma documentation again. We have created that, and now what we can do is we can change the Prisma provider to MySQL. Okay. Okay. And then we don't have to, like, we can migrate it, but we have to create the database schema first. Okay, in order to do that, we have to provide the schema. We can copy this from, as we are following this documentation, we can just copy these two models, and we have this users table, basically users table. It will create the users table, and this will create the posts table. Okay. Currently, if we see that we don't have any tables here, right? And in order to migrate everything, like we don't have any migration file and all, we can do simpler command Prisma npx Prisma migrate dev for local environment. Okay. So there is an error like, please make sure your database server is running on localhost 3306. Okay. So let's go back and debug it. It is running on 127.0. It is not running on localhost. We can change the localhost to 127.0.0.1. Now, if we run the command again, it will run. It will ask for my initial migration name. So I can provide it init, or I can provide initial, any name I can provide. And now it is running the migration. And once it has been done, it will create the migration file where we can see all the details like users table has been created, post table has been created, And if we go back to our connection, we run the query. Now you can see that we have both the tables here present. So the table is now created. Now we can start working on the implementation of the module. Like for now, we can create one module. Let's start creating users module. Okay. We can create one folder like modules, and then we can in modules we can create one more folder user module, right? And that we have user.module.ts file, right? And then we have we user.controller.ts file, and we will be needing one more file user.service.ts file. This is basically the uh, NestJS folder structure we follow, right? So in module, uh, we we can use this module decorator, and in that, what we can do, we can provide controllers which we will be using, providers which we will be using, imports. We have to import this, and then we have to create a class, user module class, and export it. And for user service, we have to use the injectable decorator. Uh, Type of mistake, sorry. And then we have to create class, user service, uh, and we can move this in for now because it will be a clean class. We will be adding the logic later on. And then we need a controller. We will be using controller, and for controller, we can, if we are creating the APIs for users, right? If we add user here, what will happen is when we call the API like local host or something, our base URL slash user, then our endpoint and our other post or put request will be there. I'll show you the example later on. Like for now, I will be adding user here. Okay. And then I have to create a class, controller class, user controller, and that's it. And we have to add user controller class here, import it. We have to import user service class, user service now. Typo mistakes, save it. And we have user service class. We have to import it and providers, and we will be using it. That's it. Uh, and we have to import this user module to app.module imports in order to uh, use this module here. Now we can run this project. Let me run it. Daily is, yep, npm run start dev. So it is running, and let's create one route, get user route, in which what we can do, we can get all the users, right? And uh, we will be use, and then we will be creating an instance like user.service. We have to remove it, and then while returning, we will be using the function that is in user service, like get all user. We will be creating it like here. Let's create that function async, because it will be a DB call, so we will make this function async await. Okay, so Yep, the error is gone. Now we will be querying with the help of database. Here, okay, let's create a constructor. And for creating the Prisma call, here we have to initiate one module with database Prisma so that we can query with that. Okay, to do that, what we need to do is we need to have this Prisma client. Okay, so Prisma client, we need to install that. Let's stop the server and start installing Prisma client. Let me use Node 22 first and then start installing the Prisma client. It is installed, and then we have to create one Prisma service file. In that, we can just copy this configuration. Let me create one more database module. In database module, we will be having database dot service dot ts file. We can just paste this and what it is saying module client has not. Oh, what I am missing here. When setting up the NestJS application, you will be abstract the Prisma file. But setting, you can create a new service file that take care of this. Connect with the database. In SRC, create a file. Prisma. Okay. In SRC, we can directly create this file. We don't need to create a module. Okay. Once you have installed the Prisma client, I saw that there is one issue regarding that. Like uh, there is some no export issue. Okay, we have to remove this Prisma client and we can use generated. Uh, we can import Prisma client through generated Prisma, and we don't have to provide anything here. And then we need to use this service file inside our uh, app.module module or whichever module we want to. We can remove it from here and we can directly import this inside our user.module file in order to use this Prisma service inside our service file. Okay. And what we have to, we can create one private read-only property Prisma, and then we can use Prisma service. Now we can use Prisma as a Prisma instance to query our database. Let me run the project, the server. Okay. So let's create a query like try and let's do this dot Prisma dot user. This is my table, and if it will return us result, and we can return that result in a manner like let's do status code 2000 and data as result, and let's add catch error and let's return 500. Okay. Let me check what is the issue. Okay, curly braces was missing. Okay, we are not using this. We can do something like this. Error dot message. Now server is running. Let's test the API. Okay, there is no data currently in the API, so we are able to uh, create the connection with Prisma and our database through, and we are able to query our users table. Okay, let's change it to post table and try if it is working or not. Same API, yep, it is working. It is calling the API and we can move this back to users table. This is how we can connect our database using Prisma, and we can query it. We can create CRUD APIs, such as like this is just to get all the users. Let's create one more API, like at the rate post, at the rate post, and then we can let me add a wait here. Okay, and then create user, and that it will create the user. We will get the body request from this from client, and we will be re using request.body. Okay, from that, uh, and let's create one function in service file is saying create user. Now it has been created. Then we will be using this data. Currently, that I'm not defining any types. It is just a tutorial for Prisma, how it works and how we can connect it. So I'm not trying to add the TypeScripts here. Uh, so let's try to let's start and try to create the new user. Yeah. So we need to provide these two things, name and email, just to create the user. I have this Thunder client extension installed. Let me create a new request from here. Let me change it to localhost/user. Let's move this to post API and body. And let me provide name. Let's say web work. And let's say email, web work at gmail.com with the API. Yep, it has been created. Status code is 201. And if we try to create one new request, and let's go to the same route, but this time it is a get request. So now it is providing us the user. So, yep. So that's how we can connect to Prisma and migrate our database locally, basically, and create the APIs in NestJS application. So one tip, like when we will be migrating our uh, all the migration files to production environment, we just have to use this command, npx prisma migrate deploy. This we don't use it in local environment. It is just to sync our all the migrations with the production database. So yeah, that's a tip for the tutorial. Yep. Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye.